Mwah.
We're not really recording yet. We're just
Yep,
live.
we are. We're really recording now.
Now we're live.
Now we're live.
Hello, this is George.
Hey, Bonnie.
And this is Adonai Sanctuary Truth Classroom. And today is December 31st, 2024. 5 hours from when we are. It's going to be New Year's. What an interesting state of event. 2025. Man.
2025.
That's
Amazing.
I just told my sweetie that 68 years ago,
58 years ago.
58 years ago, I graduated from high school. 58 years ago.
Well, we are.
And somebody in the house, probably 62 years ago or more. No.
No, it wouldn't be that many. Anyway.
But anyway, we're having
Deuteronomy.
fun. And this is Deuteronomy, chapter 7. Are we ready?
Yep.
Okay. Chapter 7 tells the Hebrews what to do and who is going to be with them if they follow Adonai. Please read 7, 1 and 2, please.
So do I apologize now
Yeah, go
for
ahead.
all the mess up? Happy New Year, Ian.
Howdy.
Yep. Nobody's around here to let me know this is wrong, so we're okay.
Yeah.
Adonai, your God, is going to bring you into the land you will enter in order to take possession of it. And he will expel many nations ahead of you. The Hittites, Girgashites, how about that one? Amorites, Canaanites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. 7 nations bigger and stronger than you. I'm doing just 1 and 2.
1 and 2.
Okay. When he does this, when Adonai your God hands them over ahead of you, and you defeat them, you are to destroy them completely. Do not make any covenant with them. Show them no mercy.
Interesting.
No mercy.
Destroy those nations completely.
What's this?
Make no covenant with them. No mercy on them. In other words, people, do what I say.
Yup.
When you read 7:3, you understand that Adonai actually knows his chosen people will not follow his rules. See, we read the rest of the story, so we know that, all this. But my sweetie's going to read 7:3.
Don't intermarry with them. Don't give your daughter to his son, or take his daughter for your son.
Don't intermarry. Don't intermarry your sons or daughters with them. Now, how do we know that Adonai knew they wouldn't follow his rules? No, it's not because they intermarried, which is the first thing I thought of when I first thought about that question, but that's not because it's not that. Read 7:2 again, please.
When he does this, when Adonai your God hands them over ahead of you, and you defeat them, you are to destroy them completely. Do not make any covenant with them. Show them no mercy.
Think about that. What he says in 2. If they completely destroyed them, how could they intermarry them? They wouldn't be there. Adonai was warning them ahead of time, yet they still didn't obey him. In 7:4, Adonai tells them what will happen if they don't follow his rules. Read 7:4, please.
For he will turn your children away from following me in order to serve other gods. If this happens, the anger of Adonai will flare up against you, and he will quickly destroy you.
they will turn your children away from me. Number one. Number two, to do what? To serve false or other gods. Number three, if you are completely ignorant, my anger will go against you. And number four, now one little statement, he's making these four statements as far as I'm concerned. What happens? You will be quickly destroyed. You know what it says?
Yep, that's what it says.
Here is what you must do. Read 7:5, please.
No, treat them this way. Break down their altars, smash their standing stones to pieces, cut down their sacred poles, and burn up their carved images completely.
Tear down, break, smash, cut down their sacred poles, take down their sacred places, and burn all their carved images completely. Did that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Why should they do that? Well, read 7:6.
For you are a people set apart as holy for Adonai your God. Adonai your God has chosen you out of all the peoples on the face of the earth to be his own unique treasure.
Interesting.
Wow, I love that verse.
You Hebrews are his own unique treasure. From all the people on earth, he chose you. And it wasn't because your numbers were so large. No. Read 7:7.
Adonai didn't set his heart on you or choose you because you numbered more than other people. On the contrary, you were the fewest of all peoples.
Hey, you Hebrews, you were actually the fewest number of people. Remember? 70 went in, and over 1 million came out of Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
Read 8 and 9, please.
Rather, it was because Adonai loved you, and because he wanted to keep the oath which he had sworn to your ancestors, that Adonai brought you out with a strong hand and redeemed you from a life of slavery under the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. From this you can know that Adonai your God is indeed God, the faithful God who keeps his covenant and extends grace to those who love him and observe his mitzvah to 1,000 generations.
Now, Ann Brown wrote, look how specific Adonai is. Through all these verses so far. And then she said again, look how specific he is.
Mm-hmm.
Now, sweetie just read 8 and 9. Adonai wanted to keep the oath he made to your ancestors. And it even states because he loved you Hebrews. Adonai is faithful, keeping his covenant, extending his grace if you love him, and keep his mitzvah, commands, to 1,000 generations who follow him. Yet, what happened to those who hate Adonai and don't keep his mitzvahs? Read 10, please.
But he repays those who hate him to their face and destroys them. He will not be slow to deal with someone who hates him. He will repay him to his face.
I underline that. To your face. He lets you know he will destroy you. That's kind of an interesting way of putting it. Now that is the truth from Adonai. We know through Yeshua, his son, is the only way to the Father. There is no what you call fake altar, no sacred poles, no carved images of anybody or any false name Messiah. That is to be completely destroyed. Didn't we just read that? Why? Why should they destroy that? I mean, what's the big deal? You have this church over there with a, whatever they do, and this one over here, and whatever they do, and they don't go along with what Adonai says. So why would you want to completely ignore it and destroy it if Adonai tells you to? Read verse 11, please.
Therefore you are to keep the mitzvah, laws and rulings, which I am giving you today, and obey them.
Listen.
Listen.
Keep the laws, mitzvahs, and rules he gives you. Obey them, and obey them, not some guy by the name of Jerome. Extra.
Extra.
Yep, I wrote this later, couple days later. My sweetie's going to read 12. Read 12, please.
Because you are listening to these rulings, keeping and obeying them, Adonai your God will keep with you the covenant and mercy that he swore to your ancestors.
People, listen to the rules. If you keep them, then Adonai will keep his covenant. That's what you just read, right?
Mm-hmm. What's this?
He gave them to your ancestors. Wow. Obey him? Then what? Really, come on. Then what? Read 13.
He will love you, bless you, and increase your numbers. He will also bless the fruit of your body and the fruit of your ground, your grain, wine, olive oil, and the young of your cattle and sheep. In the land he swore to your ancestors that he would give you.
Obey them, then Adonai will love you. That's what you read, right? Mm-hmm. I didn't add that onto it. He says, obey them and Adonai will love you. Do those verses say, if you obey Adonai, he will love you? I think we just said that. Mm-hmm. Then what? Blesses the fruit of your body. Did you catch that? That one little sentence. If he loves you, if you obey them, and he loves you, he blesses the fruit of your body. Interesting. Your sheep and cattle. And where will he do that? In the promised land. Mm-hmm. That he swore to your past families. I know you always say ancestors. But here I wrote, to your past families. He stated that. 7:14 says he is even in control of their bodies. Human. And your animals. It states that. Read 7:14, please.
You will be blessed more than all other peoples. There will not be a sterile male or female among you, and the same with your livestock.
Whoa! If you do that, if you obey him and he loves you, put that together, nothing they have would be sterile. Not them and not their cattle. 7:15 tells the Hebrews about how great is his protection. Read 7:15, please.
Adonai will remove all illness from you. He will not afflict you with any of the Egypt's dreadful diseases, which you have known. Instead, he will lay them on those who hate you.
Wow. Now, I don't know why anybody ever turned their back on Adonai, the Hebrews. He comes right out and says, no illnesses, no horrible diseases on you. I guess that's saying they'll be on other people, but not on you.
What's this?
But the ones who hate the Hebrews, they will get both illnesses and diseases. The next part must be important. It's so important, we're going to do a little review. My sweetie's going to read 7:2. Listen what she said, 7:2.
When he does this, when Adonai your God hands them over ahead of you, and you defeat them, you are to destroy them completely. Do not make any covenant with them. Show them no mercy.
Now go back to 7:16 and 17.
You are to devour all the people that Adonai your God hands over to you. Show them no pity and do not serve their gods, because that will become a trap for you. If you think to yourselves, these nations outnumber us, how can we dispossess them? What's the trouble with that word?
Adonai makes sure his people understands, show no pity, and do not serve their gods. Why? Because that is what will be your trap. It will be your downfall if you do. That's plain and simple. It also says, don't be scared of any country's huge population. Read 18 and 19, please.
Nevertheless, you are not to be afraid of them. You are to remember well what Adonai your God did to Pharaoh and all of Egypt, the great ordeals which you yourselves saw, and the signs, wonders, strong hand, and outstretched arm by which Adonai your God brought you out. Adonai will do the same to all the peoples of whom you are afraid.
Now, people, the Hebrews were going to go into battle, and against huge populations. Here it says, when and if you start to be afraid, remember the signs, wonders, and strength Adonai gave to your ancestors. Read 7:20, please.
Moreover, Adonai your God will send the hornet among them, until those who are left and those who hide themselves perish ahead of you.
Now, isn't that kind of weird saying? We'll send a hornet ahead of you. That's an interesting part. Where have we heard something like that? Well, matter of fact, that very description about that comment before. My sweetie's going to go to Shemot, or Exodus 23, and read 27 and 28.
I will send terror of me ahead of you, throwing into confusion all the people to whom you come, and I will make all your enemies turn their backs on you. I will send hornets ahead of you to drive out the Hittites, Canaanites, and Hivites. I said that bad, but it's okay. From before you.
He told that before. Now, interesting. Now, just think about how interesting that is. They didn't have bug spray.
Nope.
They didn't have bee killer. So he sends hornets. Something that so many of them, they wouldn't be able to resist. The temptation to run. And I wrote, interesting. And guess what, people? We will talk about those hornets again in Joshua 24:12. My sweetie's going to jump up there and read that.
I sent the hornets ahead of you, driving them out from ahead of you. The two kings of the Amorites, it wasn't by your sword or your bow.
Have you ever thought about that? Adonai sends bees to drive out a nation. Interesting.
Yep.
Anne wrote, it's so simple, Adonai is saying, listen and obey, or I'll send bees after you.
Hornets.
She didn't put
Hornets,
that hornets part on there.
Hornets. Those are nasty.
Okay, now at first it seems so repetitive, yet they and everybody must need that repeated. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to repeat. There are some, well, you might say, stronger imagery in those verses, like 7:21. Read 7:21, please.
You are not to be frightened of them, because Adonai your God is there with you, a God great and fearsome.
A God who sends hornets to drive out a nation ahead of you that's stronger and bigger than you. She just read a God great and fearsome. Now, Here's just a couple little comments I have. In the Amplified Bible, it states, a terrible God. George just perked up and looked at me like, are you nuts? Some Bibles may say, awesome God. We found those. Yet not only the Amplified, but the worshipped KJV also states what? A terrible God. That was interesting when I heard that. When I looked it up. And George knows I look up a lot of stuff in more than one Bible. 722 explains why Adonai doesn't swipe his hand and get rid of all those nations all at once. Why didn't he just send a huge amount of hornets to all the nations and drive them out all at once? He even answers that. Read 22, please.
Adonai your God will expel those nations ahead of you little by little. You can't put an end to them all at once, or the wild animals will become too numerous for you.
Think about it. The wild, he even thinks about it, sending hornets just here and there to drive out nations. He can't do it all at once, and he even knows that the wild animals would become too numerous for you. That was so interesting. Extra page 2. My sweetie's going to read 723.
Nevertheless, Adonai your God will give them over to you, sending one disaster after another upon them until they have been destroyed.
In other words, as that stated, Adonai will do the hard work. Disaster after disaster until they are destroyed. Sounds like that to me. If the Hebrew nation obey him, they had it made. Read 24, please.
He will hand their kings over to you, and you will wipe out their name from under heaven. None of them will be able to stand against you until you have destroyed them.
Wipe their kings from the world. But in like verse 3, it says they intermarried. So he knew that the Hebrews were not going to do what he told them to do. Because if they did, it would wipe the kings from the world. Their names will not be disastrous. No, I'm sorry. Their names will not bring disasters. They won't even be able to stand against you Hebrews. Adonai's given them the road to success.
Seems pretty simple.
Against their enemies.
But we know.
725, sweetie.
You are to burn up completely the carved statues of their gods. Don't be greedy for the silver or gold on them. Don't take it with you, or you will be trapped by it. For it is an abhorrent to Adonai your God.
I underline these next two words. Another reminder. Burn up completely any handmade carved false statues. People don't get greedy about the gold or silver. They may be gold or silver that they may be made with. Or you will be trapped because it is totally detestable to Adonai. Destroy all of it. Or the curse they have on them will follow you into your house if you don't completely destroy them. Because each of them is for your destruction. That was a mouthful, 25. What does 26 say, please?
Don't bring something abhorrent into your house, or you will share in the curse that is on it. Instead, you are to detest it completely, loathe it utterly, for it is set apart for destruction.
Now that isn't just don't do that sin. No, it states to detest, to loathe. Why? Because all the sin from it sets you apart from Adonai for your self-destruction. Here's the last little comment I have tonight. Time hasn't changed from back then to now, has it? What do you have now? Same kind of stuff they had back then. Nobody listens to Adonai. Very few listen to Adonai. We got preachers who don't preach the truth. Churches who might as well be going to a restaurant instead of preaching. If you don't preach the truth, if you don't tell the truth, the churches should be empty. I'm not telling you not to go to your own church. If you want to go there and be serenaded by falsehood, do what you want. That's your job. It's your choice. Our choice is to bring out the truth. Whether you like it or not. A lot of people don't like it. I didn't think a lot of people would watch that one right before Christmas last Tuesday. And we had almost twice as many people watch that as we usually do. Pretty close. At least a third. But that's it for this year.
Yeah, is it for 2024?
Yep. In a matter of, oh my goodness, I only talked for 30 minutes.
That's all right.
You people must think there's something wrong with me. You want me to shut up after 30 minutes. Well, we hope you all had a good 2024. We hope you have a better 2025. And what you want to do is look for truth. Mm-hmm. Don't be wanting falsification or serenaded by some preacher who isn't telling the truth. If they don't tell the truth, what are you going there for? Doesn't make sense. Aren't you just wasting your time? Like the scriptures, like what we read tonight. Don't take those statues and worship them, no matter what you think they present. Burn them down, cut them down, destroy them. Remember, if you have hornets coming after you, there might be something even really bad. You have a great 2025. If you celebrate tonight, don't celebrate too much. And drive careful. Have a great time.